Hello my dear students, myself Professor Vandita Doshi with JK Shah classes is here to do analysis of your SBEC June 23 paper. So first of all let us see कौन सा चैप्टर कितने मार्क्स के लिए आया था. So पार्ट ए में से चैप्टर 3 को सबसे ज़्यादा वेटेज दिया था इस बार, that was for 13 marks. Chapter 8 was asked for 12 marks, Chapter 9 for 10 marks, Chapter 10 for 8, Chapter 11 5 marks के लिए पूछा गया था, Chapter 5 से 4 marks का क्वेश्चन आया था, Chapter 6 से 4 marks का आया था. Now going to part B, जैसे कि हम हमेशा कहते हैं that chapter number 17 and 13 is very important chapter. So you can see that chapter 17 से 17 marks के क्वेश्चन आए थे. After that chapter 13 से 11 marks, chapter 18 से 11 and chapter 16 से भी 11 marks के आए थे. After that going to part C, सबसे ज़्यादा वेटेज इस बार था chapter number 20 का. It was asked for 13 marks. After that chapter 19 was asked for 6 marks and again chapter 21 was asked for 6 marks. अभी हम देखते हैं how to write your paper या फिर कैसे हम ये पेपर सॉल्व कर सकते हैं. So this is your question paper students. जैसे कि आपको पता है क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 इज ऑलवेज अ कंपल्सरी क्वेश्चन एंड इसमें हमेशा ट्विस्टेड क्वेश्चंस पूछे जाते थे. सो एक्सेप्ट ऑफ वन क्वेश्चन दैट इज क्वेश्चन नंबर 3, इस बार सारे क्वेश्चंस बड़े स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड पूछे गए हैं. जैसे कि हम लोग सबसे फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन पे जाए. सो लेट अस रीड दैट क्वेश्चन. SPM Limited is engaged in business of manufacturing of gold coins, silver and other precious metals. Company has not raised any money from public. So हमें जो भी important लगता है उसे हमें highlight करना है, underline करना है. Company has recently imported the plating technology from Germany and it is desiring to enter into business of manufacturing of ornaments, jewelry, souvenirs using plating of technology. However, proposed business is not covered in the object clause of MOA of the company. Students, सबसे पहला जब आप object clause सुनते हो तो आपको इतना समझ जाना चाहिए कि मैम ये जो question है वो आया है हमें चैप्टर नंबर 3 से. सो इफ यू आइडेंटिफाई कि ये क्वेश्चन कौन से चैप्टर से आया है आपका आधा काम खत्म हो जाता है. ओके, मूविंग अहेड. Advise the company procedure to be followed for alteration of object clause of MOA in accordance with the Companies Act 2013. जैसे कि हमें पता है कि chapter 3 is divided into two parts, part 1 and part 2. So this question is from part 2 because it provides for alteration of your memorandum. So alteration of object clause करना है. जैसे कि हमें पता है that we are going to change the business. So business change हम हमारे थर्ड क्लॉज में लिखते हैं विच इज अ ऑब्जेक्ट क्लॉज ऑफ द कंपनी. सो यहाँ पे बड़ा ही सीधा सीधा सवाल है हाउ टू ऑल्टर द ऑब्जेक्ट क्लॉज ऑफ द कंपनी. एंड वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट टू बी नोटेड स्टूडेंट्स, उन्होंने कहा है कंपनी हैज नॉट रेज्ड एनी मनी फ्रॉम द पब्लिक. इससे हमें पता चलता है कि अनयूटिलाइज्ड फंड्स नहीं है. ये सारी बातें हमने हमारे लेक्चर्स में डिस्कस की गई थी. सो When you see the question first of all, अगर आपको एक बार में क्वेश्चन समझ नहीं आता you can read it for the second time, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होता. So सबसे पहला हमने आइडेंटिफाई किया कि it is from which chapter. Once you identify it is from which chapter, which provision is applicable. So we have seen that over here we have to write procedure for alteration of your object clause of the company. So let us see where is the answer. So over here you can see procedure for alteration of object clause of the company. Okay, so in this बड़ा ही simple सा आएगा procedure. सबसे पहले we are going to call the board meeting by giving 7 days advance notice. All this procedure we have written in our notes. I hope all of you remembers this. After this we have to hold the board meeting on the predetermined date and in that you have to pass various resolutions like proposal for approval of memorandum, that is change of memorandum object clause. Then in order to change the memorandum we have to call the general meeting. So we have to fix day, date, time and venue for the general meeting. After that we have to take approval of general meeting notice and also we have to give the authorization. So this becomes your second point. Once your board meeting is done, then दिस पॉइंट इज नॉट गोइंग टू कम स्टूडेंट्स बिकॉज कंपनी ने प्रोस्पेक्टस इशू करके कोई भी कैपिटल रेज नहीं किया है. सो थर्ड पॉइंट इज नॉट गोइंग टू कम. डायरेक्टली वी आर गोइंग अहेड विद द फोर्थ पॉइंट, जहाँ पे यू हैव टू गिव जनरल मीटिंग का नोटिस विच इज ऑफ 21 क्लियर डेज नोटिस. Once you give 21 clear days ka notice, we have to convene a general meeting and in that we have to pass a special resolution. And we know that whenever we pass a special resolution, we have to attach form MGT 14. That is file form MGT 14 with ROC within 30 days of passing special resolution. Now it was very important students to include this attachments. Okay, if you are not able to recollect all the attachments, आपको basic attachment लिखने थे, जैसे कि notice of board meeting, notice of general meeting, minutes of the general meeting and certified true copy of your board meeting resolution. Understood this much? Along with that, you also have to mention the amended memorandum of association. So if you write this 5 basic attachment, even that was okay. So that's it for procedure of memorandum. तो बहुत आसान question था. Okay. So now let us go to question number 2. Now J is a B.Tech in a computer science from Indian Institute of Technology, Roorkee. J has invented a new procedure for making of battery having long life as compared to lithium battery available in the market. देखो students, आपको confuse करने के लिए इतने heavy words use करेंगे, but we have to focus on what is the question all about. Correct? The invention has been patented by J. So now again important point has come. We will highlight patented by J. J has made an online application over portal set up by Government of India for initial funding under startup. जैसे ही startup आता है हमारे दिमाग में आ जाता है हमारा चैप्टर नंबर 9, राइट, बिकॉज चैप्टर 9 में ही startup and its registration के बारे में दिया हुआ है. In online application, J observed that there is a column for seed funding. Again, the next important point to be highlighted is seed funding. Advise J on meaning and importance of seed funding. Clear cut, straightforward question पूछा गया है, पहले आपको बहुत घुमाया है. Okay, so over here what is the question about? You have to explain seed funding, its importance, that's it. So अभी इसका आंसर हमें कहाँ मिलेगा? If you can check students, this is the short note on this seed funding which we have already done in the class. And यहाँ पे मैंने important points आपको mark भी करवाए थे. तो seed funding क्या होता है? जब भी एक स्टार्टअप होता है उसका एक लाइफ साइकिल में बहुत सारे फंडिंग स्टेजेस आते हैं, जिसमें सबसे पहला स्टेज होता है सीड फंडिंग स्टेज. सीड फंडिंग स्टेज हैपेंस एट वेरी वेरी नैसेंट स्टेज, दैट इज एट द बडिंग स्टेज. तो इस स्टेज पे जो हम लोग कैपिटल इकट्ठा करते हैं वो सेल्फ फाइनेंसिंग से होता है, फैमिली से होता है या फिर फ्रेंड से होता है. सो लेट अस सी व्हाट ऑल थिंग्स यू हैड टू राइट इन योर पेपर. So initially you had to explain about what is a seed funding, as we discussed right now at very nascent stage. After that you had to mention that this initial capital we can take from our founders, families and friends. Along with that, the third point which you had to write is the business founder must be very clear on how to utilize the seed capital, because अगर business founders ये capital ठीक से इस्तेमाल नहीं करेंगे, उसका optimum utilization नहीं करेंगे, the seed capital will not take you to the next level. Every capital, it's necessary that startup should help to be taken into the next level. Now next thing you had to write or mention about was whoever contributes to the seed capital, it's very risky investment for that person, because that person doesn't know whether that particular startup is going to grow or it is going to be out of the market. Along with that, you have to mention that the paperwork involved is relatively less, because हम लोग जो पैसा इकट्ठा करते हैं वो friends and family से करते हैं, and seed funding accumulate करना बहुत ज़्यादा straightforward approach होता है. After that, legal fees involved is quite less. Interest rate भी usually lower होते हैं and इसमें end due restriction कुछ भी नहीं होता है. I hope all of you understood the answer. So total 4 to 5 points you had to write. I always tell all my students that whenever you have 5 marks a question, write minimum 5 to 6 points. 4 points लिखेंगे. See, always you have to remember one thing. ICSI always checks on the quality and not the quantity. But yes, where there are 8 points given in the book and you say that I'll write only 4 points, then that is not correct. I hope all of you understood. There has to be balance of the quality and the quantity. तो यहाँ पे आपको लिखने थे minimum of 5 points. I hope all of you have understood the second question now. Let us go to the third question. ये जो third question था थोड़ा सा tricky था. थोड़ा सा ही कह रही हूँ बिकॉज ये बैलेंस शीट देख के स्टूडेंट्स को टेंशन देना एंड स्टूडेंट्स टेंशन में आ जाए, दिस इज व्हाट वाज द इंटेंशन ऑब्वियसली बिकॉज दिस इज अ प्रोफेशनल एग्जाम. यू कैन नॉट एक्सपेक्ट टू बी सो इजी, राइट. अभी पहले दो क्वेश्चंस इतने अच्छे जाने के बाद हम आते हैं तीसरे क्वेश्चन पे, विच इज Agrawal Enterprises Limited is resident in India for past 15 years. Company is operating in various sectors: power, infrastructure, port, oil, telecommunications. Now company is planning to make investment of 10,000 crores in Australia. ठीक है. Base solar power projects through joint venture in Australia. अभी जैसे ही जेवी का नाम आता है हाईलाइट करके रखता है. जेवी कौन से चैप्टर्स में आता है? एक तो चैप्टर नंबर 10 में आता है जॉइंट वेंचर एंड दूसरा चैप्टर 11 में आता है जो कि हम लोग ओडीआई के बारे में बात करते हैं. Then latest audited balance sheet of company revealed the following. They have given us the paid up share capital, reserves and surplus, long term borrowings and the creditors. Now referring to provisions of FEMA and notifications issued by RBI advise whether company can make desired investment under automatic route in financial year 23 and 24. See, they have given us balance sheet as on 31st March 23. So clear cut this question is from chapter number 11. चैप्टर 11 से क्वेश्चन पूछा गया है. एन इंडियन कंपनी इन्वेस्टिंग आउटसाइड इंडिया, दैट मीन्स वी आर डूइंग ओवरसीज डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट. तो इसका आंसर कैसे आएगा? सबसे पहले ओडीआई का लिमिट देख लेते हैं हम लोग. ओके, नाउ दे हैव आस्क्ड अस अबाउट द ऑटोमेटिक रूट. तो ऑटोमेटिक रूट में वी नो द प्रोविजन दैट whatever is a financial commitment, if it is up to 1 billion US dollars, only 1 billion US dollars will come under automatic route. Everyone knows about the automatic route, right? Automatic route means we need not take prior approval of RBI, only intimation has to be given. So क्या Indian company can invest outside India via automatic route? The answer is yes, but the limit of that is 1 billion US dollars. तो हमें ये limit कहाँ पे and कैसे check करेंगे? See, they have told us that they want to invest 10,000 crore rupees in Australia and 1 US dollar is equal to 80 rupees. तो ये दो points consider करके हमें अभी calculation करना है. Over here 10,000 crore rupees, if you want to convert into US dollars, it is how much? It is 125 crores. 10,000 crore divided by 80, simple cross multiplication था, इसमें ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं है. तो that is converted into US dollars, that is 125 crores. अभी 125 crores को हमें billion में लेना है. So when I calculate into billion, it comes to around 1.25 US dollars. That is US dollars 1.25 billion. अभी automatic route में कितना allowed था? Automatic route में allowed था only up to 1 billion US dollars. Right? But over here what we are doing? We are exceeding the limit. So can we do the investment via automatic route? The answer is no. We have to do this investment via approval route. That is, we have to make an application to RBI, obtain prior approval, and then only we can make investment in the Australia. I hope everyone has understood this calculation. Now you will say, ma'am, why this balance sheet has been given? देखो, हमें इसमें दूसरा भी क्राइटेरिया जो चेक करना होता है वो होता है 400% of the net worth. Right, but net worth का formula is assets minus liability, but if you check the balance sheet, only liability side is given. So ये जो criteria है you have to disregard. Why you have to disregard? Because already 10,000 crore से हमें समझ में आ रहा है our investment limit of automatic route is already been breached. So now we cannot take automatic route, it is a approval route. I hope सबको ये समझ में आ गया है. Clear? Now how do you write this answer? ये आंसर आपको लिखना था. सबसे पहले तो you have to give introduction of this. That means a particular company is there, Agrawal Enterprise wanted to make an investment of 10,000 crores in Australia. And the investment size is 10,000 crores. Then you have to show the calculation of this. 10,000 crores divided by 80 is equal to 125 crores. Now 125 crores into billion when you make, it is 1.25 billion US dollars. I hope all of you understood this. Then you have to write, as the automatic limit is breached, we have to take the approval route, and investment cannot be done via automatic route. I think it was very clear answer. Okay. Now let us go to the fourth question. Durgesh is working as a driver in cab provider company. One day, a passenger advised him that he can own a car by availing financial assistance under Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. So when we just read about this PMMY, we have understood that even this question is asked from your chapter number 9. Okay, Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. So applicable provision over here is Mudra. Okay. He seeks your advice regarding procedure for availing transport vehicle loan for commercial use from the Mudra Bank. Advise Durgesh. So over here two things you need to write. Let us see the answer. सबसे पहले you have to mention that under Mudra scheme only commercial loans are allowed. So now Durgesh wants to purchase a cab, right? If I am not wrong, he wants to purchase a cab. Okay, so for purchasing cab, he wants to avail which loan? Transport vehicle loan. So can he avail? The answer is yes, as in the variety of purpose for which Mudra loan can be obtained, one of the purpose is transport vehicle loans. But transport vehicle loan can only be for the commercial purpose. Okay, so it is very much explained over there that Durgesh जो है वो ट्रांसपोर्ट व्हीकल लोन ले रहा है सिर्फ और सिर्फ कमर्शियल पर्पस के लिए. सो कैन ही गेट द मुद्रा लोन? द आंसर इज यस. ओके, द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज आंसर्ड. नाउ दे आर आस्किंग यू अबाउट द प्रोसीजर. मुद्रा इज नॉट अ बैंक बट इट इज अ स्कीम, करेक्ट? सो मुद्रा portal is there. So when anyone who wants to avail the loan, that person will have to go to the website of Mudra, find out which is the nearest bank which is providing the Mudra loan, and after that make an application in that Mudra loan. All of this I have already discussed in the class. So what all things you had to write over here? This will be the first point. Beneficiary will contact the nearest public or private sector bank where he or she can apply for loan under PMMY. Okay, so the loan under PMMY जो भी institutions इसमें listed है उसका list already portal पे दिया गया है. Now while submitting the application form, it's mandatory to write the documents which they have to attach. They have to attach ID proof of the applicant, address proof of the applicant, latest photograph not older than 6 months, then quotation of machinery जो भी आपको खरीदना है. Over here we have to purchase a vehicle, so you have to submit the quotation of vehicle, the name of the seller, then ID proof and address proof of your business enterprise, and lastly if you belong to any category SC, ST, then you have to submit that certificate. Okay, so all of these documents will go with the application form to the bank. And you can just add one more point over here. Bank cannot ask for any processing fees. So no processing fees will be there, and whatever loan will be provided, it's a collateral free loan. So you need not give any underlying security. So this is the entire answer. I hope all of you have understood this. तो ये था आपको question number 1. So now let us go to next question. ये जो आपका कंपल्सरी क्वेश्चन होता है क्वेश्चन नंबर 1, दैट इज डन. सो टोटल 4 क्वेश्चन इज आस्क्ड. सो नाउ विल गो टू क्वेश्चन नंबर 2. क्वेश्चन नंबर 2 में ऑलवेज ऑप्शन होता है. सो आइदर यू अटेम्प्ट question 2 or question 2A. So let us go to the first question of question 2A. A and B are civil contractors having their own separate proprietorship. The state government has issued tender for construction of 10 kilometers road. As per terms of tender, bid can be submitted either by partnership firm or a company. So A and B wish to form a partnership firm. तो हमें पता चल गया the question is about the partnership. तो हमें chapter number 6 याद आएगा इसमें, बराबर है? For eligible for bidding in a aforesaid tender, advise them the key ingredients of partnership agreement. The question is very simple. आपको फॉर्मेशन नहीं पूछा है, टाइप्स ऑफ पार्टनरशिप नहीं पूछा है, सीधे सीधे पूछा है व्हाट आर द की इंग्रेडिएंट्स ऑफ पार्टनरशिप अग्रीमेंट. सो दिस इज योर आंसर. We will just give brief introduction of what is partnership about. So partnership agreement के बिना कोई भी partnership possible नहीं है. So it is nothing but a agreement between the partners. Okay. So it is detail of duties, responsibilities, rights of partners. This document becomes helpful at time of disagreement disputes. And key pointers जो आपको include करने हैं, you can write as it is. So पहले definition and vital information आएगा. Then you have to talk about the investments, accounting, duties, powers, obligation, then the withdrawals, expulsion, dissolution and the arbitration. So this was your next question. I hope बहुत ज़्यादा easy था. Going ahead with the next one, difference between asset finance company and infrastructure finance company. So this is the question from your chapter number 8, that is an NBFC. Types of companies के बारे में पूछा है आपको. So types of NBFCs यहाँ पे कौन से दो पूछे हैं? Asset finance and infrastructure. So you have two options students. Either आप उसे पैराग्राफ फॉर्मेट में लिखो, लेकिन आई सजेस्ट ऑलवेज राइट इन अ टेबुलर फॉर्मेट. तो टेबुलर फॉर्मेट में हम इसे बनाएंगे कैसे? टेबुलर फॉर्मेट में ऑलवेज डिस्टिंग्विश शुड बी डिवाइडेड इनटू 3 कॉलम्स. सबसे पहला टॉपिक आएगा, उसके बाद वी हैव टू एक्सप्लेन अबाउट असेट फाइनेंस कंपनी, सो AFC, and then you have infrastructure finance company. So this is how you divide into 3 columns. I hope all of you have understood this. So इस तरह से आप इसमें provisions लिखेंगे. So the first one which will come is a meaning. तो यहाँ पे हम asset finance company and infrastructure finance company को पहले explain करेंगे. जैसे कि हमें पता है asset finance company finances the equipments which helps in the manufacturing on the industrial activity, and infrastructure finance company finances the infrastructure project. So this is what you have to write. Second thing you can write is about the conditions to be fulfilled for becoming asset finance company and the infrastructure finance company. जैसे कि asset finance company में you have to mention that your assets should be only financing of the equipments, and infrastructure finance company में students if you remember there are 4 points which we have to mention. सबसे पहला आपका 75% of assets should be in infrastructure finance, net owned funds of 300 crores, minimum credit rating A and CRAR of 15%. So all these points will be covered. And next one comes is the test. What test needs to be fulfilled for becoming AFC and IFC? For AFC it's a 60-60 test. 60-60 test के बारे में आपको पता है. And IFC में at least 75% of the asset should be in the infrastructure finance. I hope all of you understood this. So this is how you have to present your answer for difference between. Now going ahead with the next question. Gupta Publishers Limited has been incorporated recently, and articles of company contain provisions for the entrenchment. Elucidate the provisions of entrenchment under Companies Act 2013. So we have understood that this question is from chapter number 3 part 1, right? So now let us see what is the answer. Entrenchment का मतलब क्या होता है? Providing for the extra compliances. This is called as an entrenchment, correct? So now what all things you have to do in the entrenchment we have to mention. So articles of the company can be altered any point of time because you want to do the entrenchment of that. Entrenchment is for what? It can be for the benefit of the minority shareholders. Also it can be in case of a joint venture, mergers and amalgamation. After that you have to mention what is a procedure for entrenchment. जैसे कि if your company is a public limited company, then in public limited company after formation if you want to do entrenchment, you have to take special resolution in the general meeting. And when you are a private limited company and in case you want to do entrenchment after the incorporation, you have to take unanimous approval of the shareholder. So all these things you have to mention, but entrenchment can be done at the time of formation as well. So with this you complete your answer. After that the next question is, what is doctrine of alter ego? Again this is one of the doctrine from your chapter number 3. ये भी chapter 3 का ही question है part 1. Okay. So doctrine of alter ego में क्या दिया है? Over here the vicarious liability of company will not be applicable. Why? Because over here some fraud, some scam has happened. So when some fraud or scam has happened, company will not be responsible for the evil mind of the directors who have actually done the fraud. Because company is an artificial entity who cannot have a evil mind. तो fraud and scam directing mind कौन है? The person who is actually doing it, that means the directors. So over here the company will not be a distant entity. That means whatever directors have done, company will not be vicariously liable for that. So this is a concept of the alter ego. So over here we had to mention the name of case law, that is Lennart's Carrying Company Limited versus Asiatic Company Limited. In this case what had happened was, Viscount Heldon, he propounded the theory of alter ego and he distinguished it from the vicarious liability. So House of Lords stated that when there was a default of managing director who is directing an evil mind, the company would be attributed to him and he be held liable for wrongdoings of the company. So over here for wrongdoings of the director, company will not be held responsible. So this was doctrine of alter ego. Always remember students, you have to write all this in point wise. अगर आप point wise लिखोगे, the presentation will look very good. After that, the last question. Non-resident entity desires to set up equity-based joint venture. जैसे ही equity-based joint venture आप पढ़ोगे, आपको समझेगा, ये question है from chapter number 10. However, there are certain restrictions under FDI. ये तो restriction पूछा गया है FDI का. Again, very straightforward question. फिर भी you cannot directly jump and write the answer. पहले पूरा question पढ़ते हैं. Describe the restrictions to non-resident entity under FDI policy of government. Same question is there. ठीक है? So let us see what is the answer. Again, straightforward question है. जैसे मैंने आपको कहा, there are 5 points in this. Over here, NRI will not be allowed to do FDI via automatic route because over here there are restrictions. So which route is applicable to them? They have to take the approval route. So सबसे पहला पाकिस्तान provision है. After that you write provision for the Bangladesh. After that you write provision for NRIs of Nepal and Bhutan. After that we are going to write provision for FII who is allowed to only make portfolio investment in India. So you have to mention limit of 10%, aggregate limit 24%, and if you want to increase that aggregate limit to the sectoral cap, it can be done by passing board resolution, special resolution and the RBI approval. Next we have to mention the FVCI, that is FVCI can be investing in 100% capital of Indian company if they are duly registered with SEBI in India. So these are the 5 points, direct question था आपके लिए which I had to write in this. Okay, now moving on to the next question. This is your optional one, that is question 2A. इसका पहला question कहता है, referring to provisions of Companies Act, in what circumstances RBI may cancel the registration of the NBFC? So this is from your chapter number 8. ये chapter number 8 का question है. ठीक है. नाउ कौन से केसेस में एनबीएफसी लाइसेंस कैंसिल हो सकता है? सबसे पहला हो सकता है इफ़ यू सीज टू बी एनबीएफसी. हाउ कैन यू सीज टू बी एनबीएफसी इफ़ यू डोंट कंप्लाई विद दैट 50-50 टेस्ट, इफ़ यू आर नो लॉन्गर डूइंग द फाइनेंशियल एक्टिविटी, if you are doing some other business other than the financial activity. In all of these circumstances, RBI is going to cancel your NBFC license. Now going ahead with the next question. Explain any 5 benefits of special purpose vehicle. अभी special purpose vehicle जैसे ही आता है, this is question from your chapter number 10. तो आपको इसमें लिखना क्या है? Over here, see, straightforward question is there. We have also given the answer in a very much tabular format. सबसे पहला SPV owns its own asset जो parent company से मिलता है, पहला benefit, so it frees the risky asset of the parent company. Then compliance is relatively easy, relatively cheaper. Documentation will be very clear because it is for only certain types of activities. After that, we have seen that SPV is incorporated for the tax benefits. Along with that, SPV is legally protected because it's a separate legal entity. SPV जो डेट्स रेस करता है वो कभी भी स्पॉन्सर के बैलेंस शीट में रिफ्लेक्ट नहीं होता, ना ही जो भी लॉसेस इनकर करता है वो भी स्पॉन्सर के बैलेंस शीट में रिफ्लेक्ट नहीं होता. दैट्स व्हाई द पिक्चर ऑफ स्पॉन्सर कंपनी इज ऑलवेज हेल्दी इन आइज ऑफ द स्टेक होल्डर्स. Also it helps in freeing the risky asset of the sponsor company, and also you have to write about the securitization. Now if you see students, यहाँ पे question था 4 मार्क के लिए, so you can mention any 5 points over here. ठीक है. Going to the next question, what is the procedure for registration of asset reconstruction company? So अभी ये question आया है chapter number 8 से. So ARC का जो procedure है, it's very straightforward procedure. सबसे पहला you have to be either a private or a public limited, and after incorporating that you have to get yourself registered with the RBI. Under which act? SARFAESI Act. I hope all of you understood this. So for that we have to make application to the RBI. Only this much you had to mention. And ये application हमें कहाँ देना है? Application we have to make with Chief General Manager, Department of NBFC, Central Office, RBI, Cuff Parade. इतना mention करना था. If RBI is satisfied after the verification, it will grant you registration. And once registration is granted, you have to commence business within 6 months. If you fail to do so, you can grant or you can ask for extension, and RBI may grant you extension for not exceeding 12 months. इतना ही आपको लिखना था. Okay. Going ahead with the next question. ABC LLP, अभी LLP का नाम आया immediately, it is chapter number 5, correct? So it has its registered office in Kanpur, UP. For its convenience, LLP want to shift its registered office from Kanpur to NCT of Delhi. अभी Kanpur is in UP, Delhi. So it is from one state to another state. लेकिन हम पूरा question ज़रूर पढ़ेंगे. Advise LLP regarding various formalities which needs to be complied with shifting its registered office from Kanpur to NCT New Delhi. Now सबसे पहले आपको इसमें analyze करना था shifting of registered office का कौन सा procedure लिखना है, because it is within the local limits, outside the local limits, one ROC to another, and the last one was one state to another. So over here the fourth provision applied to us, that is shifting of registered office from one state to another state. So for shifting of registered office, सबसे पहला will be taking consent of all the partners. We require consent of the secured creditors over here. And once secured creditor consent has been taken, we have to publish a notice at least 21 days before making application to the ROC. Then we have to file form 15 along with form number 3. We know that both the form goes hand in hand within 30 days of publication of the advertisement. Everyone understood this? So this were the 4 to 5 points which we had to mention. After that, next question comes from, let's see which chapter. Explain provision contained in section 129 of Companies Act. Section देके टेंशन मत लो, आगे पढ़ोगे तो समझ आ जाएगा. And Companies Account Rule 2014 relating to financial statements of the holding company. अभी holding company के financial statement की बात हो रही है. So this is from chapter number 4. Okay. So we have already mentioned that financial statements of holding company, it goes 2 financial statement. That means company को CFS भी बनाना पड़ता है, consolidated financial statements and the standalone balance sheet. Then you have to write these points. सबसे पहला CFS of holding company to disclose prescribed details about the subsidiaries, associate and JV. Then if you have more than one subsidiary, then you have to make CFS of all of them. That is holding company, associate company, subsidiary company. After that, you have to also present a separate financial statement. Along with this, you can also mention that in balance sheet, you have to disclose about the investment, and also in the P&L, you have to disclose about the dividend and provision of losses if made. So these were the 5 points which you had to mention. I hope you have understood. This was your part A. Now, let's go to your part B. Part B में सबसे पहला question है, ABC Private Limited is engaged in business of manufacturing of machinery. Company has following investment in the fixed asset. तो plant and machinery में है 115 lakhs. Then land and building में है 100 lakhs. Turnover 600 lakhs. Explain with details whether ABC Private Limited comes under MSME as per new definition of MSME. So clear cut students. This question is from chapter 13. They are asking about the MSME ka definition. So when we look into the provision, micro enterprise means an enterprise where plant and machinery investment is not exceeding 1 CR and turnover 5 CR. Small enterprise matlab not exceeding 10 CR and turnover not exceeding 50 CR. Medium enterprise means plant and machinery not exceeding 50 CR and 250 CR. So this is what you have to write. And now you have to analyze कि हमारा जो company है वो कौन से category में आएगा, micro, small और medium enterprise. 115 lakh is 1.15 crores and we are not taking land and building into consideration. And second one is 600 lakhs is 6 crores. So it is more than 1 CR, more than 5 CR. So our answer over here is, it is a small enterprise. So आपको इसमें लिखना क्या था? सबसे पहला definition of MSME and after that you have to justify why it is a small enterprise. Clear? Okay. Going ahead with the next question. Factory is having 400 persons and covered under Payment of Wages Act 1936. It wants to fix the wage period as 1.5 months and make payment of wages within 10 days after last day of wage period. Is it permitted under Payment of Wages Act? Now Payment of Wages Act comes under chapter number 17. It is one of the sub chapter. Everyone knows that, right? तो यहाँ पे दो question है, क्या wage period 1.5 month हो सकता है क्या? And second, जहाँ पे 400 persons are employed, there can company pay within 10 days. तो ये दो चीजें हमें check करनी है. So first of all, as per Payment of Wages Act, no wage period in respect of any employee shall be more than a month. So that particular provision is not correct. And दूसरा, wherever less than 1000 persons are employed, their salary has to be paid on or before 7th day of the expiry. तो यहाँ पे दोनों जो provisions दिए हैं वो गलत है. So is it permitted? You have to answer this question. It is not permitted and you have to write the correct provision. समझा है? Going ahead with the next one, it is talking about the copyright. So we have understood that this question is from chapter number 16. So in the following cases, who are the owners? हमें क्या find out करना है? Owners find out करने हैं in terms of provisions of Copyright Act 1957. इसका आंसर straightforward है. Again, owners of the copyright. Some of the owners have already been included. सबसे पहला question अगर check करें, musical sound recording. तो musical sound recording में owner कौन है? Lyricist है, composer, singer, musician, producer company who produce the sound recording. Second one we have works by journalists during the employment. जब भी journalist employed है, work belongs to the organization unless you have a contrary contract to that. So again second one is straightforwardly given. Third one, painting or a portrait drawn at instance of any person. देखो painting जो है, anyone who makes, who is the author of that, who is the owner of that? The person who makes it. Okay, so over here the person who is going to make, that is painter. So over here the correct answer will be the painter. Next, drafting of examination papers. So one who drafts the paper will be the owner. And book written by a teacher being employee of the college. So over here college will be the owner, because over here teacher is making or writing a book at instance of a college. I hope all of you understood this. Clear? Okay. Going to the next question now. Sukhdev Industry Limited, situated in vicinity of Taj Mahal, Agra, is causing a air, water and noise pollution. People living in this area have written a complaint to central government against company for issuing necessary direction. State different direction that can be issued by central government to Sukhdev Industry under Environmental Protection Act. Again, this is question from chapter number 18. Again a straightforward question. What are the directions which central government can give? So this all are the directions. So ये था आपका answer. Going ahead to the next question. अभी जो next question है वो option के साथ है. So either you can opt 4 or 4A. So 4 में first question is explain the objectives of the NGT. This is from chapter 18. बड़ा ही आसान सा सवाल है. Objective of the NGT. Students देखो most of the questions straightforward है. Okay, so what are the three objective? You had to write this. Effective speedy disposal, दूसरा enforcement of legal right, and it will also provide compensation and relief. So this is what you had to write. Now let's go to the next question. Now the next question talks about explain benefits extended to the MSCs for having valid NSIC registration. Now NSIC registration, again a question from chapter number 13. So NSIC registration is available only to micro and small enterprises. So whoever has taken that registration, you will get this many benefits. So first point is about free of cost tender. After that, earnest money. After that, you have certain price band relaxation when you are having a NSIC registration. Also we know that government procures minimum 25% from MSC, out of that 4% from scheduled caste and 3% from the women entrepreneurs. Also 358 items are reserved for the SSI, that is small sector industries. So this was your answer. इसके बाद Amit has designed a teacup having a hollow receptacle for holding tea and handle to hold cup. And can Amit register it under Designs Act? So हमें समझ में आ गया ये पढ़ के that this is from your IPR, that is chapter number 16. So let us see what should be your answer. हमने ये क्लास में भी डिस्कस किया था स्टूडेंट्स. इफ यू रिमेंबर दैट डिज़ाइन लॉ में सबसे ज़्यादा फंक्शनैलिटी को नहीं देखा जाता बट उसकी यूनिकनेस एस्थेटिक अपील को देखा जाता है. सो द लुक शुड बी वेरी यूनिक, डिज़ाइन शुड बी यूनिक, देन ओनली इट इज़ रजिस्ट्रेबल. So over here same example is given. See, first of all you have to write it excludes from its purview the functioning feature of article and grants protection only to those which have an aesthetic appeal. Example, teacup. See, exactly same example is given. Okay, so यहाँ पे functional features cannot be registered. लेकिन यहाँ पे then he has asked that can Amit register it under Designs Act which is having tea and a handle? He cannot register because nothing is unique in that. But the next question asked is, would your answer be different if teacup has a fancy shape or ornamentation? So over here our answer should be yes, because it is written that but a fancy shape or ornamentation on it would be registrable. Same as it is पूछा है, अच्छे से पढ़ के गए हो, पूरा का पूरा मार्क्स मिल सकता है. ठीक है, let us go to the next question. Santi was employed in factory since 2008 when total employees in factory were 54. She resigned from that employment in 23 after 15 years of continuous service. Continuous service कुछ याद आया? ग्रेचुटी के बारे में है, चैप्टर नंबर 17. डायरेक्टली आंसर लिख नहीं सकते, क्वेश्चन देखते हैं. The factory owner denied to pay the amount of gratuity, stating that on date of her retirement, number of employees in factory had come down to 8. So, Gratuity Act would not be applicable. Referring to provisions of Gratuity Act, advise whether Santi will be successful in her claim. So, over here, we know this answer very well. We have discussed in the class that once the law is applicable, it is always applicable irrespective of the number of employees being decreased. Okay, so over here, which provision is applicable? This one. Right of receiving gratuity by employee is a statutory right. So in no case, no reason will be valid. Okay, so Santi will be successful in getting her claim of the gratuity. I hope this is understood. The next question comes is, write down the duties of employer under Sexual Harassment Act, that is Women, chapter number 17. So this is your straightforward answer. Duties of employer under this. Duty is there to provide for the safe working employment. Display the penal provisions at conspicuous place. Organize shops, workshops, awareness program. Necessary facilities have been given to ICC and LCC, securing attendance of the respondent, and make all the information available to ICC and LCC. So you can write this 6 points because the question was asked for 3 marks. Clear with this? Going ahead, Sunil is operating the construction material in Noida. National Green Tribunal has awarded penalty of 1 CR. NGT आया. Question is from chapter 18 for non-compliance of its order. Aggrieved by order of NGT, Sunil looks for her advice to seek the review of decision of NGT. कहीं भी कोने से जाके पूछा हुआ है, लेकिन हर एक कोना हमने हमारे JKSC बुक में कवर करके रखा है. You can check it out. Review and appeal. Anyone who is aggrieved by decision of NGT can either file review or appeal. यहाँ पे हमें पूछा गया है review के बारे में. So review can be filed under rule 22 of NGT. Review is with the same court and appeal is with the higher court. You can also add provision of appeal where appeal can be filed with the Supreme Court of India within the period of 90 days. Understood? After that, next one. LK Limited is in healthcare sector. The company has launched a product named Ramban to cure the disease of cancer. Company desires to register the product logo under Trademarks Act, chapter number 16. Describe the points to be considered by company while adopting a trademark. Very straightforward question. See, points to be considered while adopting a trademark. Correct? So this are the different types: generic, descriptive, suggestive, arbitrary and invented. So of this you have to mention that generic and descriptive are not much protectable, but arbitrary is strong mark and invented is the strongest mark. So you have to select any one of this. Understood this much? Now next question. M Limited has textile plant situated in Bhiwandi, Maharashtra. Mudit is head of plant who possess master degree in mechanical engineering from reputed institute. Mudit is appointed as occupier of plant under Factories Act. Abhi Factories Act aaya, then the chapter number is 17. What are measures Mudit has to adopt for health of workers in manufacturing process which generates dust, fume and other impurities? So ये health provision का एक question पूछा है. So we have the direct provision over here relating to dust and fumes. इसमें आपको लिखना था that dust and fume being injurious to health, following measures needs to be taken. So it should prevent inhalation and accumulation of dust. Then they have to fit the exhaust appliances. Internal combustion machinery, that is engine, has to be installed, and this internal combustion machine has to prevent the accumulation of fumes. So all these 4 points had to be written. Going to the next, Dadi Ke Achar Private Limited is producing pickles of all varieties. Fewer workers in company are in age of 15 to 18. 15 to 18 अगर आपको याद है, these are the adolescents. The company seeks your advice and provision regarding working hours and period of work under Child and Adolescent Labor Prohibition Regulation Act 1986. So this question is from chapter number 17 again. Again, a direct question is asked about the hours and period of work. We had to write that child or adolescent cannot be working for 3 hours at a stretch without a break of at least 1 hour, and total working hours cannot exceed 6 hours. This is including the time of break. They cannot be working between 7 p.m. to 8 a.m. They cannot be doing overtime, and no double employments allowed. So these points you had to mention. Next, what conditions are required to be satisfied by white category industry to be eligible for pollution license exemption? Again, a straightforward question from chapter number 13. So this is from various registration and license, and pollution control is a applicable license over here. उसके बारे में directly you have to write about the exemption which white category industry gets, but they will get exemption only if they fulfill certain condition. Now what are the condition? Very first one, they should be located in the demarcated areas. Secondly, investment in plant and machinery cannot be exceeding 1 crore. Thirdly, they will not be discharging any trade effluents, that is no air pollution, no water pollution, neither the noise pollution. Also, they should not discharge or handle any toxic or hazardous waste. So this was your answer. So this was your part B, students. Now going ahead with the part C. Part C बहुत easy आया था, but it was without any options. Again a challenging one. So सबसे पहले it was a defunct company and a vanishing company. This is from chapter number 20. Defunct company क्या होता है? Company which has not started its business within 1 year of incorporation, never did any business, is called as a defunct company. What is a vanishing company? Straightforward answer is over here. Vanishing company means a company registered under Companies Act, which is also listed on the stock exchange, but who has filed or failed to file its return for the period of 2 consecutive years, and also with the stock exchange not filed any returns. Along with that, it is not maintaining the registered office where the address has been provided for, and none of the directors are traceable. So this company is called as a vanishing company. ये आपको tabular format में लिखना था. Next one is, what do you mean by pre-packed insolvency resolution? Now the chapter number is 21. PPIRP के बारे में पूछ रहे हैं. And what is the eligibility limit and the time limit? 3 questions हैं. So over here you have to explain what is a PPIRP first of all. After that you are going to write the eligibility. Eligibility is only for micro, small, medium enterprise where default is minimum of 10 lakh rupees. And after that they have asked you the time limit. So time limit you have to mention that PPRP has to be completed within the period of 120 days. Okay. After that, the next question is, what is a procedure to be followed by dormant company for obtaining status of active? Now this is from chapter number 19. So आपको procedure पूछा गया है conversion of dormant company into active company. We know that the form required is form number 4. The form number 4 has to be filed after filing all the MSC 3, which was the annual compliance of the dormant company. तो आपने कोई भी MSC 3 file नहीं किया, you cannot go for MSC 4. Along with that, once you file this form, then ROC may issue a certificate, that is your active certificate MSC 5. So this were the points you had to include. Now let us go to the next question. Now the next question is, what do you mean by inactive company? अभी inactive company का definition, now we know that this question is from chapter number 19, that is dormant company. को specifically inactive company पूछा है, so you have to write this 3 points. Inactive company means company not carrying on any business or operations or has not made any significant accounting transactions for the period of 2 financial years and has not filed any financial statements and annual return during 2 financial years. Clear with this? The next one which was asked, BBIL is unlisted public company. The company is in insurance business. BBIL has incurred huge loss applying for striking of its name after making due payments to all the creditors. So this is suo motu filing of strike off. ROC requires NOC from appropriate regulatories. Whether NOC is required? Such a simple question it is from chapter number 20. Okay, now what you had to mention over here. See, in voluntary striking off, whenever your company is governed by other regulatory, that is except of ROC, if you see over here, like RBI, IRDA, HFC, SEBI, etc. we have to obtain the NOC which has to be attachment in form STK2. So NOC is required. Okay, इतना सा आंसर लिखने के लिए आपको 5 मार्क्स मिल गए. I hope all of you understood this. Clear? So one of the attachment in STK2 is NOC from the appropriate regulatory authorities when your company is governed by the other authorities. Going ahead to the next one. Effective Green Energy Limited was incorporated on 22nd May 2020 due to restrictions imposed to combat COVID-19 pandemic and consequent slowdown in economy. Company could not start any business. तो company ने कोई business start नहीं किया. ROC removed the name of company from register of company without giving prior notice to the company. Company desires to challenge the action of ROC. Referring to provisions of Companies Act, examine whether action of ROC is tenable or not. Again, this is question from your chapter number 20. यहाँ पे you have to mention and always remember, ये हमने क्लास में भी डिस्कस किया था that जब भी ROC स्ट्राइक ऑफ करता है उसे नोटिस देना ज़रूरी होता है because opportunity of being heard is mandatory, right? So for this you have to give reference of this case study as well, that is International Security Printers Private Limited versus ROC Delhi. In this case the similar kind of situation happened. ROC has struck off 6,000 companies, no notice was given and even it was not provided in the Gazette as well. So over here what was the decision of Honorable Bench? ROC has failed to prove allegation that proper steps were taken, because unless you take proper steps as per section 252, 4, 5 and 6 subsections which are prerequisite for striking off of the name of the company, in absence of impugned action, it would be arbitrary, illegal against principles of natural justice. Because over here it was mandatory to give the notice and ROC has not given the notice. So what should be your answer? Examine whether action of ROC is tenable or not. The action of ROC is not tenable. So you have to write that particular case law and the provisions of section 252 where notice is required. I hope everyone has understood this paper. The paper was very easy. Hoping to get very good marks to all of my students and hope the video will be helpful to the December attempt students. All the very best. See you all. Thank you.